My name is Marcus, and I was born into a family where pain wasn't just expected. It was tradition, sacred, and violently enforced under the guise of brotherhood. My earliest memories of Saturdays were always laced with dread. The garage reeking of motor oil and dried blood. A sacred place for men in my family where childhood ended and brutality began. When I turned 10, I was thrown into this grotesque rite of passage. The chalk circle, 2 boys enter, 1 bleeds, and only that one eats dinner for the entire week. This barbaric ritual wasn't some twisted game. It was our grandfather's legacy, inspired by his trauma from the Vietnam War, twisted into a philosophy where weakness meant death and violence meant survival. He used to say he watched soft boys die crying for their mothers, and he'd be damned if any of his grandsons turned out the same. My uncles enforced it proudly, showcasing their victories like medals, their photo albums filled with images of broken noses, bloody lips, and swollen eyes. The moment I stepped into that chalk circle at 10, forced to fight my cousin Luis, I realized I wasn't a boy anymore. I was prey in a system that fed on blood and silence. I broke his nose that day just to eat, crying silently as I chewed chicken and rice while he held a towel to his face, empty plate mocking him. As the years passed, the violence escalated, and the hunger became a punishment that twisted our minds. My little brother nearly lost his eye. My cousin Roberto, once so gentle, became feral just to survive, tearing flesh with his teeth and hooking eyes. Fathers bet on their sons while mothers turned away. No teacher asked questions, most were cousins or married to one. We were trapped in a cult of pain with no exit. Everything began to change when I discovered a pack of stage blood during drama rehearsal for our school's spring play. I stole some, tested it, and on the next Saturday, when Marco caught me in a headlock, I slapped the pouch against my face and let it drip. Fake blood fooled them. I went hungry, but for the first time I wasn't broken. I had a plan. I taught my younger cousins the trick. We choreographed fake fights, rotated wins to feed those who needed it most, and fooled the system for 3 beautiful months. But our joy was short-lived. Grandfather noticed bruises vanishing too quickly. Soon came strip searches, metal detectors, and the betrayal of cousin Domingo, caught with blood packets taped to his waist. They made an example of him, 3 18-year-olds versus 1 14-year-old. Real screams, real blood, real pain. My father warned me next. That night I lied. Told them I'd recorded everything and sent it to CPS and the police. I hadn't, not yet, but it stopped the violence for a night. Vincent called 911, gave a false address to buy us time, but fear broke loose. Miguel, our 8-year-old cousin, had been filming. When Uncle Marco snatched his phone, Miguel whispered, "I sent it to Mom." The garage spiraled into panic. My grandfather barked orders, locked down the house, and gathered us inside. The mothers were horrified. Some had known, but not the starvation part. My mother broke down when she saw my bruises under the lights. Grandfather declared anyone who left was dead to the family. One mother took her kids anyway. Others were torn. Luis secretly recorded the meeting on his phone, but the battery died as the lights went out. Roberto cut the power. In the darkness, we escaped through a bathroom window, scattered across the neighborhood like fugitives, hearts pounding. We sought help from neighbors, friends, even school staff, but grandfather's influence reached everywhere. Miss Rodriguez, our drama teacher, had called him. The principal tried to hold us, saying our family was worried. Vincent injured his ankle during our escape. My bank card stopped working. Grandfather had shut everything down. Even the news called us runaways from a concerned immigrant family. Every adult we trusted turned us away. Every door slammed shut. We had nowhere to go. Eventually, I walked into a police station, ready to tell everything. But Uncle Marco was already there, filing a missing person report. I was ushered into a cold interview room where Detective Chun seemed sympathetic, until he started taking notes and realized my story sounded too outrageous. Officer Petroian, his partner, scoffed. "It's just tradition," he said, dismissing years of trauma with a shrug. I was released back to Marco's custody. Back home, grandfather played the grieving elder, accusing me of being unstable, delusional, poisoned by drama class. Mandatory therapy began. Dr. Brennan, a well-paid manipulator, listened, nodded, and took notes that framed me as mentally unwell. He said trauma created false memories. I realized then, I was being gaslit, pathologized, discredited by a family so invested in control that they'd rather label me crazy than admit the truth. I tried recording the fights again, hiding in the rafters, but Roberto crushed my phone underfoot. The others just watched. Fear had won. I started handwriting everything, injuries, dates, matchups, and hid the journal in my school locker. But a janitor found it and turned it in. Grandfather staged another intervention. Principal Morrison, a cousin, held a family meeting to talk about my violent fantasies. Even Jake's parents backed away, swayed by Dr. Brennan's reports. Desperate, I went to the newspaper. The editor listened but said it was hearsay without proof. Meanwhile, Grandfather scrubbed all evidence. Trophy shelves were empty, photo albums replaced with smiling faces at birthday parties. Luis found me one night and confessed he'd never recorded anything. He lied to support my bluff. I felt crushed, betrayed. I realized then that this wasn't just violence. It was a control system designed to break boys before they became men. My only option was survival. I began stashing evidence in abandoned buildings, bus station lockers, library hard drives. I watched from the corner of the garage now, unable to stop the fights, documenting instead. The younger boys avoided me. Some mothers tried to pull their sons away with soccer practice and piano lessons, but Grandfather caught on and changed the fight schedule randomly. My father approached me in the garage one night and whispered, "I'm saving money. When you turn 18, I'll help you leave." His eyes were hollow, filled with years of submission. It wasn't enough. I watched 10-year-olds bleed while adults cheered. The cycle continued. 3 weeks before my birthday, Roberto snapped. Forced to fight his little brother, he refused to throw a punch. They both went hungry. That night, he packed a bag and vanished. I heard through whispers that he made it to Nevada. One less ally, but a victory nonetheless. Meanwhile, the younger cousins had gone full tilt. They practiced fighting after school, quoting Grandfather's lessons. Even the 8-year-olds started learning psychological tactics. Miguel became my secret weapon. His videos were clearer, longer, proof of Grandfather instructing beatings. But the footage showed me watching passively. I was complicit. My mother found one of my evidence caches. She screamed at me, told me I'd destroy everything. Our home, my sister's futures, her fragile balance. She looked skeletal, giving her food to my sisters, wilting beneath the weight of our silence. She told me to wait until I turned 18. Just survive. So I did. I refereed matches, counted blood drops, stood inside that chalk circle as a symbol of surrender. Grandfather smiled. Luis became lethal, trained daily under Grandfather's eye. When he caught me watching, he just nodded, executioner acknowledging the condemned. My father's hidden money was discovered. Grandfather intercepted bank statements. He tightened his grip. The family reunion was announced. A gathering of past fighters, uncles with scars and dead eyes, all excited to witness my final humiliation. Grandfather declared my birthday fight would happen at sunset, a ceremonial execution disguised as tradition. I tried again with the police. A female detective, Williams, seemed to believe me, but a single call to verify my story killed everything. Dr. Brennan's reports were enough to discredit me entirely. I left with a pamphlet on mental health. Vincent developed a new tactic, minor sabotage. He'd spill water, cause distractions, trip at the right time. It worked barely, but Grandfather saw through it. Still, he couldn't prove anything. As my birthday approached, I checked our hidden archive. Miguel's videos, Roberto's photos, my journal, a library of pain, and no way to use it. My 18th birthday arrived with gray skies and tension thick enough to taste. The garage had been redecorated like an arena. Banners reading "Strength Through Struggle" and "Brotherhood Bonds" mocked me from the walls. 40 relatives packed into folding chairs. Men in their 30s laughing about past victories. Scars like medals. Luis stood ready, perfect form, eyes dead. The chalk circle had been repainted, wider, brighter, hungry. Grandfather sat in his elevated chair, glass eye reflecting light, voice booming with finality. "Tonight, we remind everyone what happens to those who challenge family." The garage door was locked. No escape. Luis attacked first, quick and brutal, just as trained. But I didn't fight back. I dodged, blocked, evaded. The crowd shouted, demanded blood. Luis grew sloppy, angry. Then Vincent moved, accidentally, purposefully, tipped the water table. Luis slipped hard. His elbow cracked on the concrete. Blood flowed. Chaos erupted. Grandfather stood, furious. But rules were rules. Blood hit the ground. The fight was over. I helped Luis up, whispering, "I'm sorry." But he didn't answer. That night at dinner I ate. Luis sat with an empty plate, arm bandaged, silence pressing down like a tombstone. Grandfather summoned me afterward. He looked old, fragile. "You won without winning," he said. "Get out. Take nothing. Never come back." So I did. I left with nothing but scars and stories. The evidence remained hidden, waiting for a day when enough of us had grown strong enough to finish what we started. I don't know what will happen next, but I know this: tradition is not an excuse for cruelty. We bleed to survive, but we also heal. And healing starts with telling the truth. Thank you for listening to my story. If it moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Kindle Stories Official. Your support helps us shed light on dark places. Until next time, stay strong, stay aware, and stay kind.